Hi folks, this is Karim Raouf from our IT Visualizer channel. We will continue our lab, the Terminator lab. This is the video number 50. We have been discussing in the previous video the following. We have been working on how to deploy and capture Windows 10 using a feature or an add-on to the MDT called PowerShell Deployment Module. This PowerShell Deployment Module is an add-on to the MDT which will help us to deploy and capture images through the cloud. The main or the basic function of this PowerShell deployment module is to help you to deploy or to configure MDT and use it through the cloud, because it will use the HTTP and HTTPS protocol to capture and deploy images. So this means that you can use it on Azure or use it on AWS, and this increase the range, or this will increase our scope. You can deploy images not internally through your network but through the cloud, and this will help you to deploy more PCs and more workstations in different places in the world. So this is not limited to your local network, but this can expand to your to all of your branches. If you have branches in different countries, this solution will help you to deploy images through all of your branches. So we have discussed how we can install this PowerShell deployment module, how we can configure it, how we can configure a capture task sequence on this PSD module, because the PSD module task sequences are different than the normal MDT task sequences. There is sections are not the same. The sections in the task sequence in the PSD are not the same as the sections in the normal task sequence in the normal MDT module. So we have discussed all of these, and we have made a capture process on the PSD module to capture Windows Server 2022 Standard Edition. We need to capture an image of this Windows Server with other applications to be installed on it, like PowerShell and CMTrace. So we have done this in the previous videos. Today we will see the live action, or we will see how the capture process will be done through the PSD module. You will see that the PSD module has a different interface, a different structure. It is different completely than the normal MDT. So let's go and see how this is done. We have 3 videos. They are all small videos. Now we have already configured a virtual machine, and this virtual machine will have its firmware as a UEFI, because we will need to install Windows Server 2022 on this virtual machine. Okay, and this operating system supports UEFI firmware, and you should make sure that all of your PCs and all of your servers have a firmware of UEFI. So because this is more secure, so if you have a server or a workstation that has a firmware UEFI, you are more secure than to have a firmware BIOS, which is an old firmware and have a lot of security issues. So we have this virtual machine as UEFI, and we have discussed before that there is a problem with the MDT, okay, or the WS in specific. It will not boot directly, or the Pixie boot, the Pixie mode will not boot directly to the WS or communicate with WS directly when you have your firmware as UEFI. We need to tweak this, or to have a step to do that. We have a manual step. I will show you right now how we can do this. We have discussed this before, so you can have a manual step to go and force the virtual machine to boot in the Pixie mode using the UEFI firmware, or we can go to the DHCP and change the boot file name section and make it load a certain image or certain file that will support the UEFI firmware. This, we have discussed this before in a couple of videos. Okay, we have discussed this before. So we need to now boot in the UEFI, or force the UEFI to boot using the Pixie mode. So we tell him exit, and then we go to the boot manager, and then tell him to UFI Pixie Boot version 4. Okay, this will force it to go to the Pixie Boot mode. Then it will communicate with the WDS, and then it will begins loading the boot image. Okay, so now we need to use the deployment or PowerShell deployment boot image. Okay, this is we have made in the previous video. Okay, so now it is loading the boot image. It should now begin loading the PSD environment and begin working with the PSD MDT environment. Okay, so it will load the boot image, and let's go to the second video. So here we can see that the first thing we notice that the background is different. Okay, it is different than the normal MDT background. We can see that at the bottom it said PowerShell deployment. Okay, this is the first thing we need to notice. Then we will see different changes, or we'll see different things appearing. Here we can see a PowerShell window opening. Okay, this is because most of the PSD MDT module are working with PowerShell scripts. It's not using Visual Basic scripts or Windows script files. Okay, it is using PowerShell scripts as its core uh, processing, or it is processing using the PowerShell uh, highly, or it's using PowerShell as the source of the scripts, or it will only work with PowerShell. Not only work with PowerShell, it mainly work with PowerShell and supports the VBS and the WSF. Okay, so let's wait and see what will appear. It will take a little bit of time. Here you can see the first thing we can notice that there is some useful information displayed. This is displayed using a program called Big Info. We have seen before that Big Info, it is something that you install on your PC, and it will display in the background the info concerning your PC. For example, here we are having our PC model, PC make, the company or the manufacturer, the memory, the IP address, the subnet mask, the default gateway, this DNS server, the HCP server, MAC address, and the network card. This is very, very useful information that through it we can know the PC hardware requirements or hardware specs. And in the top, we can see progress loading core PowerShell modules. This info is displayed using the Big Info. The Big Info, it is configured uh, on any PC or workstation to display information about the PC. We can see here I have already configured or installed this Big Info. We can see here that it is displaying my computer name, the operating system, the boot time, useful information. It will appear on your desktop. So they are using the same concept to display information about the deployed or captured machine. Okay, this is in the folder, on in the PSD deployment folder. We will see in the PSD deployment folder a folder for the Big Info. So we can see that the boot image goes to the PSD deployment folder and run the Big Info to display this information. Okay, so we can see very useful information we have. Then it will begin processing or progress loading core PowerShell modules. It will take some time. Okay, we can make it a little bit fast. Here we can see that it's saying that you check at least to have 1.5 gigabyte of RAM, because this is a virtual machine that we will have Windows Server or Windows 10 installed on it. By the way, I have here this virtual machine. I will install Windows 10 LTSC Enterprise on it because I didn't succeed in recording the task of capturing the Windows Server 2022. So I have made another task with the PSD module, and this task is to capture Windows 10 LTSC Enterprise 2021 edition. Okay, so it's checking if you have at least 1.5 gigabyte of RAM. This is the minimum requirement for installing Windows 10. I think 2 gigabyte even more. So let's wait for a moment. Here it's completing the process. And then after that it will begin opening, or the first thing it will ask you to provide a username and a password to access the PSD deployment share folder. We have already in the bootstrap.ini give him the credentials to do that, but for some reason it was not uh, implemented, because there is a problem. We need to check the bootstrap.ini, because I think there is a problem concerning some setting in the bootstrap.ini. Okay, so we need to check it and see what is the problem. Okay, so here it is seeing if there is any task, because you are running a task sequence. It will see if there is any other task sequence running. If there is any other task sequence running, it will not run. You need to first finish the other task sequence before beginning a new task sequence. Okay, so here it's checking for a valid network configuration. It's checking the network configuration setting. Okay, and then it begins accessing the folder or the deployment folder that contains the scripts and the ISO image of the Windows 10 and a lot of things. So here it's asking us to provide an ID to access this folder, or this production folder, or this deployment folder. So we have the domain, then the user, or the computer, then the user. Then we need to provide the password. This should be done automatically in the bootstrap.ini. I think there was a problem. The line concerning the username and the ID was not implemented. I think it was damped, or it was not configured correctly. Okay. So we will wait for a couple of seconds until it is validating the network access. You can go further. Okay. Again. So it will take some time until uh, beginning the process of the capturing. Okay, so we can see here it gives us a lot of, here we can see that the interface is different. This is not the normal MDT interface. The interface is completely different. We can see that the menus are different. We will see here is the deployment readiness. This some data concerning the virtual machine. The task sequence, we need to choose the task sequence. Device details like the name of the computer and blah blah blah. Administrator credentials, this is the local administrator account, username and password. Local and time, keyboard and time zone, applications that need to be installed, and then the summary. Okay, so let's wait and see. Again, here we need to select. We have only one task to choose from. This is the Windows 10 LTSC. I have only one task configured. This is before making the Windows Server capture task sequence. This was before that. I have recorded when I was only having one capture task sequence. Okay, so now we can see that this is the name of the PC and this is the work group. Again, I think in the custom setting.ini, I have already told him that we need to join the domain. I think there is some problem in the configuration. Anyway, so here it is designed to, or the task is working to join the PC to a work group. Okay, so this is, if you need to change the setting, then the local administrator password, So here this the passwords that does not match. Okay, they match. Then next. Then here we can see the time zone standard. This was already in the custom setting to time I. All of these are also configured. Here now we can choose to install different applications. We can see here we have a lot of applications to choose from. You can choose multiple applications. You need to hold control, then click to choose different applications. Here you can see we have a lot of applications to choose from. Okay, then next. Then we will have the summary of all what we have done before. All of these are already here are displayed in the summary. Then we can begin the capture process. Okay, so now we can do that. So we continue, tell him begin. Then you can see here that the capture process or the deployment process will begin. Okay, it will take some time. Okay, so you can go there and continue. We can go further. Okay, you can continue. Okay, now we can continue further. It will take some time, so we can continue. Here it will begin partitioning, or it will begin. Here you can see format and partition UFI, so it will begin format and partitioning the hard disk. It will have 3 partitions. 2 are hidden for the EFI and secure boot partitions are hidden, and for the C partition it will be available. So we can continue with the process. Okay, we can continue further. Okay, sorry guys, it will take some time, but we can go further and continue. Okay, set the driver fast to see if there is any drivers to be installed. Okay, it will continue. And then the normal process or the deployment or capture process will continue. So if we can go a little bit further. Okay, so we can continue. It's still searching for the drivers. And then let's go a little bit even further. Okay, fail. All these are related to the drivers. So we can continue a little bit further here. Inject the drivers. Okay. So the task sequence is running smoothly without any problems. As we can see here, the differences between the PSD MDT module and the normal MDT. We can see the different structure, the different menus, the different design for this. Okay. installing the operating system. Then we have the phase of installing the operating system and the different applications. Okay, so this will take some time, and then at the end we should see the installation done. So let's continue further. So we are installing the operating system. Okay, this will take some time. And it will take a little bit of time, and then we will have the third video, which is the installation of the operating system. So now we have finished the part of the task. If you go there, here we will see that this is the task finished, but you can see here this is Windows Server, not Windows 10 LTSC. So I have managed to capture the last phase in the Windows Server. Anyway, this task will do the same if for Windows 10 or for Windows Server. We see everything is working. We can see that it is already there, it is working, the task is success. Okay, so what we intend to do is very simple. The task is finished. This is the differences between the normal PSD or the normal MDT module and the PSD MDT module. Hope this video informative for you all, and thank you all for viewing. Thank you so much.